Recreate and rise. Recreate and rise. Why? Because grey divorce deserves a new playbook. In the episode, I introduce Recreate and Rise, talk a little bit about the grey divorce and the impacts that it has on people, and give you an introduction to what the Recreate and Rise podcast is about and how it will benefit you, the stories, the ideas and the thoughts that I have planned for you. So you found your way here, and is that because it's for you or for someone else? Have you found yourself going through a divorce? You've been married for a long time, 10 years, maybe 20 years, maybe 30 years. You've gone through a divorce, a lot of the mess. You've trudged through a lot of the mess, perhaps the initial parts of the divorce. And now you sit down and it's like, now what? Now what do I do? With the grey divorce, a lot of it occurs when you wrote a story from when you were a young child. Fairy princess, I'm going to grow up, get married, be married forever, perhaps have children, grow old together, and perhaps have grandchildren as well. It's the story that we have written since we were children, and it's a story written from many generations before us. I am Lisa Keevill, and I'm the founder of Recreate and Rise. Recreate and Rise, where your next chapter is one that you weren't expecting. However, I'm going to show you the possibilities that are there. I'm going to show you the tools to help you recreate your new chapter and rise. So this next chapter can be one of your best stories yet. I was married for 30 years. I met my ex in the Army Reserve. I was 18. The moment I saw my ex, I said to myself, I'm going to marry that man. He didn't know I existed for a couple of years. And when I was about 20, we started to go out. He noticed me. We started going out, and we quickly got engaged and got married when I was 22. I adored him. Yes, we did what most people do, what the little princess dream was as a child. We got married. We bought our first home. We had our children. Had three beautiful children, 2 sons and a daughter. And then in July of 2019, just after celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary, in short, I'll tell the whole story one day, but the short version of the story is he didn't want to be with me anymore. Every morning I'm waking, he wondered what he was doing with me. He hadn't planned to leave. That was just his thoughts. So I left because I wasn't in a position where I felt that I wanted to be married to a man that really didn't know that he wanted to be with me. And that's kind of my story. What happened was, yes, I've got some notes. This is my first podcast. I'm so excited. But in telling the story, and a lot of it may resonate with you. So I left home. I left the family home. I moved away. Yes, I cried myself to sleep every night, a good 12 months. I found simple tasks like getting up to go to work or going to do the groceries. I found them quite difficult. I had moved to the beach, so I did find a lot of delight in going to the beach. It was kind of like my medicine. I would even go to the beach in winter when it was raining. I would walk along the beach, and I do love to swim. But what got me through was something from my childhood. I was an athlete. Okay, not so good of an athlete, but I did used to get to the state most of the time, and that's quite an achievement. I would run 800 and 1,500 metres, and when I got to the state, I was always kind of at the back, but I really didn't care because I'd made the state. And at the time, that was my goal, my personal goal. I remember my father would always yell from the sideline, "Go, Lisa, go." Actually, I'm telling that story wrong. It was not "Go, Lisa, go." That's I flipped my father's mantra. He would call "Go, Flash, go." He called me Flash. It was his little word of to show his proudness for his daughter. It was "Go, Flash, go." So as I would run, and you kind of struggle, as you would know, anyone who does athletics in Australia, you know the state's on at the hottest part of the year. Go, Flash, go would motivate me. Go, Flash, go would inspire me to go faster. If I really thought I had nothing left to give, it would motivate me. And what it did was give me a sense of, I've got this, I can do this. So not long after I'd moved out of the family home to the beach, I one day just couldn't get out of bed, and I just thought to myself, "Oh, go, Flash, go." And then I thought, wow. But I changed it to "Go, Lisa, go." So "Go, Lisa, go" became my thing, where everything I did was "Go, Lisa, go." If it was too hard, it was "Go, Lisa, go." And at the same time, when I achieved things, it was also a mantra and a war cry for, "Yay! Go, Lisa, go, you did that." What it encouraged me to do was start to set goals and set bigger goals, create goals in different directions to what I normally would do in my life. Normally in my married life with my family, I'd be creating goals about maybe repainting the house, planning a holiday. But this time I started to create goals for myself. I could ask myself, what did I want to do when I was a younger child? Ask myself, what hadn't I achieved in life? And I won't go into it too much further, but that is basically where Recreate and Rise was born. Because I realised that I was actually creating a new life for myself. No therapist suggested it. No support network suggested it. I Googled, there was nothing available to say what I should do beyond a divorce. So I created my new life, and then I realised I actually had to share this with the world. Within Recreate and Rise, I've created 4 main pillars. And these are pillars that, over time, through the podcast, I'm going to share with you and how to do it. So if you're sitting there thinking, yep, my story's not the same as Lisa's, but I can relate to the story, I'm actually going to show you with these 4 pillars. Within each pillar, there's different areas. The first pillar is reclaim. You need to reclaim yourself and the person you are, the person you were born to be, I should say. You need to reclaim that sense of belonging, because after divorce, you really feel isolated and lost. So the first part of Recreate and Rise is to reclaim. And then the next part of Recreate and Rise that I teach you is ignite. You're igniting the fire from within. And as a yoga teacher and someone who teaches meditation, and I love things to do with the chakras, your solar plexus, your fire within. And that is why I've gone with the I for Rise for ignite, because you're igniting the fire within. Igniting the fire within allows you to dream, allows you to have confidence, allows you to have motivation. It also allows you to have what do you call it? Like a skip in your step. Is that the right thing to say? But ignite. Shall I show you how to ignite? The next part of Recreate and Rise is we strengthen. So within strengthen, there's a few subjects, and we're strengthening yourself. We're strengthening your belief in yourself. We're strengthening your dreams. We strengthen all aspects of you, from your health, your aspirations, and you're getting stronger, not so much physically stronger, albeit that is a part of it, but you're actually getting, you'll find an inner strength that it's like, I've got this, I can do this. I didn't think I could do this by myself, but now I've actually learnt all of these, I've learnt all of these different things to actually see that I can do this by myself. And finally, emerge. When you emerge after going through the Recreate and Rise program, you're emerging into the person that you're probably always supposed to be. A lot of people don't realise this, but beyond, when you're in a marriage, sorry if I just step back, when you're in a marriage, you don't realise that perhaps you're not being the person that you were born to be. Especially the chapter of marriage where you're having a family, buying first homes, cementing careers, raising your family, getting used to being a wife, you do tend to lose some of those traits, lose some of those personal dreams because you give so much to everyone else. So with the Recreate and Rise program, you emerge the person, you're actually ready to fly. You are ready to fly a little bit before then, but yes, you emerge as a new person. So let's talk about the grey divorce. The grey divorce, yes, grey, G-R-A-Y, it is across America, is how they spell it. Grey, G-R-E-Y, is how we would spell it in Australia, but the terminology actually hasn't hit our shores. So I do refer to the grey divorce as the grey divorce, G-R-A-Y, because it's more globally known. Within Australia, we do call it a midlife divorce. But I ask you to ponder on that. I'm not sure about the word midlife anymore, and I'm not going to get into that, but we're living longer. And people would always say midlife is in your 50s, but really do we need that terminology? So the grey divorce, I refer to it G-R-A-Y, G-R-E-Y or midlife, whatever resonates with you. But what is it? It's a divorce that's happened beyond the age of 50. And it is normally impacting couples that have been married for 10, 20 or 30 years. And unbelievably so, kind of sadly so, but inspiring so, to me, 65 plus is actually the age group that's raising within the grey divorce space. That's a good age to be recreating your new life. So if you look at some research shows us that whilst divorce rates have settled globally, in Australia last year there was around 42,000 divorces registered. The median age for a woman for the divorce out of those 42,000 was 44, which means that more than 50% of the women were aged 44 plus. In the US and Canada, the rates are 1 in 4. Currently, 1 in 4 are over the age of 50. And in New Zealand, the age is similar to Australia, but New Zealand, the rates are rising. So overall, divorce rates have settled around the world globally, but within that settlement, the grey divorce is rising. Not a lot of people know about the impacts of divorce. People don't talk about them. And that is one thing that with Recreate and Rise, I want to start openly talking about the impacts of divorce. Because people don't talk openly about the impacts of divorce, I find it creates a certain amount of ignorance. And it's ignorance about what the impacts are to a person. Now, I am concentrating on women 50 plus. So yes, if you're younger, come on board. That's fine. But I'm just I like to keep in my lane, my area of expertise and experience. Not only is a woman who says 50 plus is going through a grey divorce, she's also impacted a lot of the time by menopause. Whilst menopause is a natural process, there are impacts, more impacts to some than others, say with health, even hot flushes. It's another kettle of fish, which I will get someone in to talk about. But you're also looking at empty nesting, and research has shown that empty nesting does impact the mother more than the father, and that's normally because the mother has played, on most occasions, the primary role in caring for the children. So on top of a divorce, where you've been with someone for a long time, whether you've welcomed the divorce or whether the divorce wasn't welcomed, besides menopause, on top of menopause, on top of empty nesting, there's a whole nother suite of impacts. And women that have been through a divorce, they'll talk about it. When I was saying about ignorance before, I was ignorant. I was one of the ignorant people that had no idea about the impacts of divorce. So for the ladies that are listening, this is resonating with you, or for those that are listening just to see what this podcast is about, when you go through a grey divorce, what you need to do is create a whole new identity, a whole new lot of friendships. Unfortunately, friendships do go by the wayside. New family relationships, because you do dissolve a lot of long-term friendships, say with the in-laws, and you've also got your family relationships. If you've got adult children, it's different relationships with them. You're looking at new places to live. Sometimes people may remain in the family home, but on a lot of occasions actually have to downsize. Financial implications are huge for the 50 plus age group because a lot of people are getting ready for retirement. In Australia, we're quite fortunate. We do have some backing. We have, like Centrelink, there is some availability for some backing, but in the places like the US, the backing's a lot more difficult with financial. And a lot of women also, you're looking at, in 2025, we're looking at the generation of the baby boomers and moving into Gen X, and they still within, especially in baby boomers, generationally, they were a lot of people that actually gave up their careers or went back to part-time work to raise the family. So then you're looking at people before they're going back into if they need to return to the workforce, they might need to upskill, and they might even change careers. Because realistically, if you had a career when you were 25, it may not suit you now. So anyway, there's a little bit about grey divorce. Yes, it's huge globally. Yes, they are the impacts. If I can get you to, if you're sitting there listening, you're like, okay, Lisa, makes some sense. I can see that I need to recreate my life. Yes, I'm impacted by identity, family relationships, etc., etc. What I would like you to do, I've got 3 things I would like you to do. The first thing, have a think about what your dream new life would look like. Yes, I understand you're probably thinking, well, I'd like it just to look like it was with my family. But you need to accept that we've moved on. You need to move forward from there. So consider what you would like your dream life to look like. Is it near the beach? Is it a small apartment? Is it with a lake down the road so you can fish every evening? Is it that you just want to go and live in a colder, cooler climate, warmer climate? What does it look like? The second thing I'd like you to do is write down 3 things that you would like in your new life. If you have a journal, fabulous to write in your journal. Make sure you put the date in there. So 3 things. So the first thing, consider what you'd like in your new life. The second thing, write down 3 things from that list that you would like in your new life. Try and make them realistic. You can make one. You can reach for the stars with one, but try and make them realistic. And the third thing I would like you to do is, I'm across all platforms on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. If you go in and do what you do, if you can follow, and please share. So many people, they know people who have gone through a divorce and they say, Lisa, my friend needs you. Please share. Please share so people get the help that they need. And my next episode that I have for you, which will be dropping, I think, within the week. So the next episode is all about socializing, making friends, losing friends, and just community. Just ideas on community beyond going through the grey divorce. It's one of the biggest needs of our women that have gone through a grey divorce, and I'll show you some different ideas on how you can achieve that. And why? Why do you want to recreate and rise? Because the next chapter belongs to you, and it's going to be amazing. I'm Lisa Keevill. Thank you for visiting Recreate and Rise. I'll see you next time.